So the gallery, it's done. Go check it out. Super excited to make this episode the finale of the gallery series this past week. Finally, everything came to fruition. A month and a half work came to being. I learned two major things that I honestly think you can apply to almost anything in life, whether it's a creative project or a business thing or just almost anything you can apply this stuff to. But we're going to talk about those two things closer to the end of the video. You know, retention and all that. But I'm going to walk you through the week first, kind of as we have been. Monday, Staples. Thank heavens we got the prints from them on the phone for the vlog because I don't have on my camera here. But if you can see back there, kind of, we finally picked up the order for all the gallery prints. So they seem to look pretty good. I checked them while we were in the store. And so now I get to drive back to church to lay them out. They're a little curved, so I have to flatten them and get them into the picture frames. So kind of excited. They're finally here. A little later than I had hoped for, but hey, they're here. We can get the job started. Let's head back to church. Janessa and I were able to get them all in their frames to help flatten them out. Colored version on the back, black and white version on the front. And frankly, at this point, I was almost tearing up because of just how exciting the project really was coming to a head. Like finally, after a month and a half, we were seeing these prints in the frames. All this design work, all this idea and planning was working out. Fast forward to Wednesday, the big day. Let me tell you, that was about 4 hours of work and effort there. Huge shout out to David for washing the walls prior to us filming because frankly, that one wall really needed some touch-ups and David did an absolutely tremendous job. Also brought his laser. We were able to level everything. I worked on taking all the plexiglass covering off because I don't want any glare if this is going to be on camera. No glare whatsoever. That took me a while, and man, my thumbs were tender after, you know, the frame had those little like metal bits all the way around. They have to like fold over and over again. That was a little bit painful, but we stuck through it and got them all put in their frames and took all the plexiglass out, and then it was on to filming, which in terms of that, we had to figure out how to light this thing. Thankfully, on Tuesday, we did some practice lighting. I'll show you some stuff from there, where we actually turned four or five stage lights towards that wall, but they were coming from a specific angle, so I wasn't entirely sure how good it was going to look. But we wanted to fill the space a bit more with light, so we have this massive, huge LED wall in that room, and so we cranked the brightness to 100%. Put on a big white screen, and that honestly helped fill the space. So in terms of you doing any sort of project similar, you probably won't have access to a huge, massive LED wall or super big stage lights, but there's probably another budget way to do it. We honestly would have just had to have rented gear if we didn't have any of those things. So we figured out how to light it. Wednesday, after the whole wall was finally set up, it was on to filming using the dolly track, which worked amazingly well. There was a lot of technical points that I will see how it goes in the edit in terms of match cutting things, but honestly, it was awesome. It was so cool to see all the prints up on the wall, to see this idea that had been living in my brain for a month and a half finally come to life here. Got great feedback from the team. People loved coming to read the stories and seeing how they looked. It was honestly a really fun day. Super exhausting because we shot for 3.5 hours, but we got pretty much all the shots I was hoping for. Actually, between you and me, man, the morning of our filming day, I was looking on FrameSet. I've talked about that on the channel before. It's a great place to find reference images and ideas, inspiration. I was looking at shot lists for a gallery because I didn't have a lot on the morning of, not a lot. But thankfully, I found this really cool top-down shot that I wanted to see what we could do. So I was actually put up on the lift, and I was able to get this really cool kind of panning shot down of the opening of the gallery because I really didn't know how I wanted to open this, but I thought this would be a cool way to do so and a unique perspective and angle. And so that was cool. I got all harnessed up and I got to drive the lift up and down, which was really great. Thanks to Keith for direction there and making sure I was safe. And yeah, we just got to film the stories and film the people and see them in a really cool way. And so one of the biggest things I learned, one of the biggest takeaways from this whole project was one, bring people on your team that are smarter than you. I don't see there's any shame in that. I have no issues saying that David was way smarter than me on the construction side of things. And even when it came to some of the filmmaking stuff, he was super, super helpful. And I think this project would not have turned out the way it was had I not done that. Had I, been self-conscious and going, I need to be able to do this whole thing on my own. I just don't think that's true. This project was a perfect example of that. So big shout out to David. Thanks to Janessa as well for just chatting through ideas sometimes and working through some things with me. Team matters. And I think that applies to almost anything in life you're doing is bring people around you that can lift you up and B, man, if they're smart or something, they can work that out for themselves and make something even better than you could by yourself. So go together. There's that whole saying of, you go farther together kind of thing. And I truly do believe that. The second kind of major takeaway I got from this really was this was a month and a half long process. So one of the longer projects we've worked on here at my job at Stack. And there was certainly points where I honestly didn't think that this was going to work out. I thought this is going to look kind of dumb. The frames aren't going to be good. It's not going to be good on the wall. Stuff's not going to work out. But I learned to push through those moments and trust the process. And honestly, this project cooked. It was awesome. It was so good. The feedback's been tremendous. I've been so pumped to see it on the wall, to see their stories. I think it's okay to say I rocked this. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's cool to say that and sit in that because I know for me, maybe for some of you, I tend to look towards the next project. All right, this one's done. Let's start the next one. But honestly, I want to sit in this a bit and enjoy the fact that we made something super cool. Now, I still have to edit the things, but even from some of the preliminary edits, it looks great. And it was the vision I had in my head for the most part. And so push through those times on projects where you're not entirely sure how they're going to turn out. And part of it too is just starting, right? This was baby steps from the conception of the photos and the holding the signs to how it was designed to the printing and the framing. These are all baby steps along the way. The first thing you have to do is take a step forward. So whether, I don't know, you want to plant a garden, it's snowy and rainy today, so it's probably a bad example, but I don't know, plant a garden, you want to start running, you want to, I don't know, read that book or start that podcast, one step forward pretty much means for all those, begin. And you probably know what that really first step is. So I encourage you to do so because I think for this has been a big encouragement for me to push forward and to try these things and to trust the process that even in the moments, which I feel like everybody has, whether it's a big project or small one, there's always those little sneaky moments that kind of hit you of going, this is going to suck. This is not going to go well. You're going to fail in some capacity. And I think it's really important that we push through those moments and build something cool. That's about it. I feel like the finale of this whole thing, showing you lots of footage, what it looks like. This will go live at Stack in about 2 weeks, week and a half now. Frankly, I'm just super excited for people to see it because it was hard to explain to people what I'm doing outside of them watching my YouTube channel. And I don't always just tell people to watch my YouTube channel. I want them to find it organically. Okay. If you have any questions, something I've missed, something you want to know about, maybe the editing process, comment down below. Otherwise, this will probably be the finale of the gallery series, which I'm really excited about, to move on to something else and talk to you about something else. Yeah, that's it. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Start that project. Start that thing you've been planning on doing. One little step forward. Honestly, it makes a big difference. And if you take a little step forward every day, those will add up to crazy distances if you continue to do so. Awesome. Okay. Have a great week. Stay hydrated. I love you. And I'll see you next Friday.